Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. If you're new here, my name is Anna and I like to build in The Sims 4. I build all sorts of things, family homes. I use all different packs. I've done a base game only series last month. And yeah, so all of that's available on the channel. And if that sounds really fun to you, please consider subscribing. It does help me out. Today's particular build is a very special build to me. It is a build concept / idea that was granted to me by a subscriber. So this particular build was inspired by a storyline. It was inspired by a particular Sims family, and I really hope if that special somebody is watching today that they let us know in the comment section down below, or to me privately, their thoughts on this build. I did have some simple instructions. I knew the size of build that they needed. They did need a 4x2, whether they want, and the overall style. So they wanted a more modern build, contemporary. I've made this a base game build just because that means it's way more accessible for you all. And I wanted to do something that used a lot of squares and interesting shapes. So we do have this kind of a curved roof, which you will see in a second, but then followed by these very squared rectangled areas. I've used different roofing, so I've used some normal tiled areas, platforms, just some half walls, just to kind of create a lot of dimension in this particular build and just give it a lot of shape. So as mentioned, this is a base game only build, and the other kind of design aspect that was kind of discussed was that it was to be like a soft tone, a light kind of soft muted kind of I don't want to say Scandinavian, but I kind of do. It's kind of giving that clean, modern style, as opposed to something that's using a lot of dark colors or a dark color scheme. This is more light and airy and fun. So this particular sim is the main sim, I believe, is I guess you could say the matriarch of the family, is a writer, and they love to read. They're a bookworm. And one of the main focal pieces was to have a formal office for them to write and a space for them to create, but also to have a kind of like a reading nook or like a sophisticated reading section of the house where, there's a lot of light that's flooding in and they can read, and it just is a very open space. The only kind of drawback on that, and I think I may have not really achieved this, is the fact that this particular lot, each lot in The Sims 4, the lighting is so different. And I think the lighting on this particular lot made it a little bit difficult to achieve that. Like the best lighting was kind of facing the back of this particular build as opposed to the front. So I had to keep that in mind when I was doing the floor plan, to kind of make sure that that reading area did have the light facing that side of the particular build. So yeah. All right, we are painting the exterior. So I start with a lot of beige tones, a lot of wood tones. We use a lot of different materials in this particular build. There's brick, there's kind of like a stucco, there is pinstripe paneling, there's all sorts. And I really liked this. I thought that this really added to the exterior of the build, having different sections, being more of an accent piece, and yeah. And I also, what I really enjoy about this particular build is the front garden beds, which you can see in the front there. They've kind of got a little bit fenced off in front of those windows. I really like that space. Okay, so it's also very simplistic. The layout is very simple. So the entire bottom floor, I believe, is all living. And then upstairs you have those 4 bedrooms that I mentioned. So this particular build has a male Sims room, a male teens room, a female child's room, a female infant's room, and a master bedroom. All right, so I did say it was going to be a light scaled house, and then I'm starting with a black and white kitchen. So that's interesting. I can't remember if I changed the color. I may, but this was an interesting kind of layout for me. And I don't know if you'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. Do you agree with having this kind of seated area next to the dining? I just had so much space, and I wanted to create some division between that dining space and the kitchen. So I thought, why not just add in some extra seating? We also have a bar that's kind of connected into the formal kitchen here. As you can see, I like it. And I think that it's very much an entertainer's space, which is quite nice. And then that obviously leads out to the, the outside via those platforms. So I've had to kind of make some custom like platform steps. And it's just a very open space. So in the hallway, you obviously have your stairs. You have a little study nook, and then I believe a bathroom. Yep. And then you walk through to this other part, kind of like the right side of the build, left, this big open left side of the build. So this is your living room. And then that downstairs space, that's pretty spacious. This is that office. So that is this particular Sims work office. And I really love how I've laid it out. I've even included some family areas in there. Potentially this Sim, maybe they're a workaholic and they do a lot of writing, and they kind of, put themselves away in their office. But there's also, they've got a growing family, and, they need the space for that. So I don't know. I see the vision. All right. We are starting the landscaping. So the landscaping is very simple in this particular build. A lot of greenery. I really liked those ferns and just some simple trees. These are Basegame trees. And yeah, really love the coloring. It's just light and airy, but still modern. And that was kind of the vibe for this particular space. You've got a little bit of seating out here. It was just a little bit too much room, so I did feel that I had to put something out there. And yeah, I do change the color to add in a little bit, just to kind of pull away from the black and white. But yeah, so the outside is very soft tone, but I am realizing now that this kind of kitchen area is very dark. I believe the living room is quite light as well. There's a little bit more softer tones, some blues and greens in there. But we're using a lot of black. So I am really sorry about that. The outside is very soft tone and is definitely on topic. But I don't know. Maybe I haven't hit the brief. You'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. I thought this was really lovely to put in some more shelving. I did mention this in the Tuesday's build, where I haven't been using a lot of shelving, and I used to use a lot. I use a lot of shelving. It's a good use of the space. We've got like a buffet table, and I've used a phone because why not? Which I've moved to the kitchen. And we still need to add some things into the kitchen, so we will be going back there eventually. Probably to put in some cabinetry and potentially like a tall cabinet. I think at this point I was working out the wallpaper that I wanted to use. This is the same wallpaper that it's used on the exterior. I like it. I think that it's definitely like an inside out type of wallpaper that you can use, and I've just gone in with a window. I love these wide kind of landscape type windows in kitchens. I've been really enjoying it lately. You would have seen this also in Tuesday's build. I've done the same thing. And just add some cabinetry and some more clutter. What else needs, I think, do we put in like a bin and some aprons just to clutter up the space. I do want to keep it fairly minimal because someone is actually going to play in this particular build, so I need to make sure that it is functional. So that's my main goal, is to make sure it's functional. Oh, we do change it. I am so happy we changed it, because again, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't like a dark scaled home. Alrighty, we are finally into that kind of living room, and I believe we go in with some more light tone furniture. I definitely use this kind of modern base game type couch. I don't use this a lot, but I did use this a lot when I did my base game only builds that you saw for March. They were such a fun series, and I really, and I said it then and I'll say it now, I believe that you can do such good base game only builds now in the game since we've had all these updates. So this was not, it was a challenge because there was a brief in terms of a storyline, but it wasn't a challenge because of the assets. Now, this corner could have very easily been that reading corner, but in my opinion, not enough light was coming through this end of the house. So it wasn't ideal. So I decided to have this like little reading section here, but make it be more of a family space. We had a lot of room in this back corner anyway, and I thought this would be really nice. And I've gone with that type of chair just because I don't use it a lot, and it kind of looks a little bit more fancy. And I think like if you're going to have a space where you read, you want like a really comfy chair. So I don't know, I've used that particular chair. The rest of the furniture is very modern. I think the piano's smart. It's a very open space. And in the game, if you're, having a party or something, it's just a really open space for that. All right, so this is that Sim's personal office, and I really love this space. It's a lot of light. So this is probably the one room of the house that gets a lot of light. And I think the upstairs master gets quite a bit of light as well. I use this end table as kind of like a faux like filing cabinet with a pinboard. And I kind of made the desk very central, so that, it's all the light comes in from the windows behind the desk and it just floods that space. I put in some little bit of seating. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're having a meeting. I have no idea. I put in that portable bassinet. I like this idea. Maybe she's working, and their child is sleeping, and, that's a very practical thing. Okay, so this is the downstairs bathroom. Very simple in here. I did not do too much in here. I've used a shower tub combo, as you've seen. And yeah, I've again used that same kind of modern furniture line that's used in the living room, just in like a monochromatic color scheme, and just going around with some paintings. And then I think that we're moving upstairs into the bedrooms. So yeah, you'll have to let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this layout? I like this layout. Now, obviously, because this build has a storyline in mind, that's why there are certain placements and that certain rooms are what they are. This build is of course available on the Sims 4 gallery. My gallery ID is Antoinette.44, is in the description below. If you download this build, feel free to change things around. You might make that office space into a 5th bedroom. You might open up the space and redesign that whole bottom floor. And yeah, you really could do so much with that space. So this is the master bedroom. I'm trying to think back of the bedrooms in this build. I love the size of this particular room. I think it gets good light, which is another area where this sim could do some reading and have some downtime. I put in a computer up here, an easel. I don't know, I guess maybe with writing, like it's a creative type thing, so maybe they are into painting. I'm not sure. I love the grey tones in this particular room. It's neutral with like the slightest pop of colour. So I really like this particular space in here. And then, yes, so next door to the master bedroom, you have a very basic bathroom. You can kind of see the remnants of that bathroom there, we will obviously go through that in the tour. So the closest bedroom to the master is this infant's room. It was quite a small room, and I definitely wanted to have an infant's room because the subscriber didn't mention if there were any children yet, but I felt that, it's always good to have a nursery ready to go so that when your Sims start to have a family, you're ready to go. So I've got the bassinet, but I've also got stuff that's for the infant as they age as well. So it's all ready to go. It's probably got pink wallpaper as the running joke of all of my kind of infants' rooms are always pink and girly. I don't know. Maybe I just really want a daughter. I don't know. Maybe that's the vibe of where my brain is. But I like all the colourful things. And obviously the infant update, which came with the base game last year, was a huge help for this. All right, we are moving into, I believe, a teens room. This is a male's teen room. This is an interesting shape room. It's like a T, and it has with it being that kind of interesting layout, I could only put the bed in a certain spot that made sense. So I kind of created sections in this particular room. So you've got the bed and I believe like a dresser. And then you've got the like desk and whatnot over on the other side of the room. And I put in a TV in this build because, I don't know, some teenagers have TVs in their room. I know I did. So had the space for it as well. Cluttered the space with a lot of posters and had this nice little area for a desk. There is also a computer in here and a lamp. What else do I put in here? Just some clutter. Bedside tables. This is a very basic base game bed. And yeah. And we change it to, do we use a brown swatch? Yeah, or do we keep it blue? Probably keep it navy like I do most male teens rooms. They're always a navy room. I like it though. All right, so we are moving into the third bedroom, I believe, which is a child's room, I think. Yeah. Is this a dinosaur room? Might be another dinosaur room. I love my little dinosaur rooms that I do. The Kindermaid set is just so easy to use from base game, and you just like, actually, yes, yeah, this is like a lot of blues and oranges, and it's very dinosaur themed. And I think there's like these little train sets that I use. I love that. The backpack getting extra swatches is so good. That's also something that happened, I believe, last year. And it just makes like these rooms have a little bit more personality, which I really like. And I love the little train sets and yeah. So I'm trying to think what the fourth room is. Maybe it's I don't know. I'm trying to think. It would be a girl's room for sure. So yeah, what color? Do we go with this brownish kind of tone? I swear I used the dinosaur paper. Maybe I did keep it. Anyway, I like that. This little space, I put in the card table. We just had a little bit of room. Sometimes when you've got just a little bit of extra room, you can kind of make it into like a faux playroom. I tend to do that sometimes. Put in a kind of like a little drawer and potentially a plant, maybe, or some clutter. Maybe like just a painting. These were some portrait paintings that we got in the base game as part of an update, and they are useful. It's always nice to have extra paintings in the base game. I think one of the things that I would love to see is some more sofas, some more curtains, and yeah, I definitely think those would be some really lovely changes. I'm trying to think what this final bedroom, I believe it's a female's room, but I don't know if it's a child's room or a teen's room. I'm gonna say child, but in true Anna style, we'll have to wait and see because I'm doing the exterior. Okay, so this is the backyard. I love doing this. I love combining like a hedge section with another, like a kind of like a stone fence section. I think this is really lovely. And in this particular backyard, I've sectioned it so you walk out from those sliding doors from that living room into what is again an entertainer space. And that was really important to me. I wanted there to be very evident, like very evident that there's flow. And to me, that is very important because, especially with the Sims, like if they don't have too far to walk, it just makes better for gameplay. It makes it easier to play, I should say. So we've got the pool, we've got a lounge area, we've got a little bit of dining here. I'm wondering, I think I just put some lounges, yep, up here, and potentially a speaker. Trying to think of what else do I add in that space. Maybe not much else. I definitely put in some play equipment, I believe, and I'm just doing in some garden beds. And I think I kind of do the same with what I did in the front, which is an area for like landscaping, some ferns, because I didn't want to put too much landscaping in that area because remember, we want all the light to flood into that office because that's the particular room that's there. And I just add in a tree because why not? It does look a little shady, so I'm not sure if there is enough light, but I don't know. Maybe I'll have to play in this particular house and see. Put in some gardening stuff, and is that all? Maybe put in some hedges just to kind of fill the space up a little bit, and go in with some terrain paint under all of the flowers. So it just adds that little bit of realism. Yep, and some monkey bars and a telescope, and we are back inside. So it does look like a child's room, and it is coming back to me. So yes, this is a female child's room. So yeah, and it's pink. It's pink. I've used the activity table, so I feel that this is potentially like a creative sim. There's lots of posters and artwork, and I think do I put a doll's house in this particular? Yep, in this particular build. The windows were hard on that side because of where the roof is and how it's angled, but it's not too bad. It's not the best, but it'll do. You have to add some windows in to get the lighting. I put in a desk. What else? Just some basic clutter. Put in a postcard on the corkboard. Maybe they have a pen pal. It's kind of cute. And yeah, I like this. Sometimes I like in smaller rooms to have the dresser instead of an end table. I think that it just saves a lot of space and it's like more functional. I love the little lunch boxes. I forget that we have them. That's another item. There's a couple of clutter pieces in the game where I forget we have them. So it's nice when I remember them. And I think we're going in with some pink wallpaper. And I believe that we're just going to go around the build, maybe add in some wall sconces, and we're going to go through the tour. All right, so you walk in and you have your main hallway, which you then go into the living space. So you've got that front dining sitting area into a very kind of light scaled kitchen, which has its own bar. You go through these lovely, am I going outside? Nope. Where am I going? All right, down the hall. You've got a chess table. You've got a bathroom. So that is our bathroom for downstairs. And you're onto that lovely open living room. And you can kind of see the light coming in. And you see how in that corner, there's not a lot of light that's going in. So I don't know if I've achieved the kind of light flooding reading nook. Because again, it probably wasn't the best lot for this particular build. All right, this is that private office. I really love this space. I think it's a really well furnished room in the house. It's not my favorite. I think I really love that master bedroom, which I think is where we are starting. Yes, we are. Love the color tone in here. The color palette in here is beautiful. Lots of light that floods in there. This is the upstairs bathroom. Very spacious in there. You have that very kind of pink, girly, colorful infant's room, and then that very kind of traditional masculine type teens room, into a very fun dinosaur themed child's room. Should have used more orange. Needs more orange. And lastly but not least, we have that lovely kind of child's room. Very pink and fun in there. And then outside, you, as I mentioned, you go through those doors and you have an entertaining space, a pool. You have some monkey bars, play equipment, and you have kind of like a gardening section, which again, might be a hobby. You never know. And that is it. So that is today's build. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on today's build. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.